Beautiful. Next we're going to look at a hip flexibility program. So for this one, you can use a small height, so whether you've got a chair or a couch around, I'm going to use this chair here, and you can use a soft object such as a cushion or a pillow, something like that. So make sure before you do this one that you've done all your lunges. So we want to do our forward lunge, and we hold that one for about 30 seconds. And then we want to stretch down our straight leg as well. Do that for about 30 seconds, same on the other leg. And you also want to do a frog sit stretch for about 30 seconds, making sure your hips are in line with your knees when you do so. So the first thing we're going to do some active flexibility and some passive flexibility. So we can start off with some knee straighteners, just to make sure that when we do some of our more active flexibility items, that we keep our knees tight. So using your cushion, you're going to put it on the floor in front of you. Put one foot on top of it. I'm using my foam block here. Hands next to you, and you're just going to have a really straight leg, making sure you're squeezing up through your quad, locking your knees out. And you're going to do 10 leg taps up and down on your cushion, keeping a really tight toe as well. Do 10 on that leg, and then do 10 on the other leg as well. To make this a little bit harder, if you'd like to, you can do it sitting in straddle sit, so that you've got your leg on top of the foam over there. Next, we're going to move on to some laying kicks. So you want to make sure you've got some space around you. You're going to lay down with a nice tall posture, arms out and present. I'm going to do some kicks. Now, if you have a TheraBand at home, you can put your TheraBand or stretch band around one foot and the other foot as well. So we're going to lay down, arms out. We're going to lift our foot just off the floor, and then you can start some kicks. Count yourself 8 or 10 kicks, making sure that you're keeping your bottom leg really straight, your top leg really straight, and that you have pointy feet as well. You can do both legs. We can also do some sidewards kicks, making them really hard and fast, and some backwards kicks laying on the floor as well. Making sure you keep your hips down into the floor and not lifting them up the floor when you do the kick. Do about 10 kicks on each leg, forwards, sideways, and backwards as well. Moving on from those, you can do some kicks using your chair or couch. So lightly place your foot on top of the height. The higher it is, the harder it's going to be. So start off with something lower, otherwise you can make it higher. Make sure that your front foot, or your foot that's on the ground, is facing either forwards or a little bit to the side. We don't want it completely turned out. So lightly place your foot on top of the height, arms up. Squeeze your posture, your core. Lock our legs nice and tight. And then we're going to do some little kicks up and down. Now what your bottom leg is going to do, if you're not squeezing it, is it's going to bend when you start to try and kick. So you want to make sure you keep that really tight as we kick. Now to make this a little bit harder, do about 10 kicks, and then after your 10th, you can hold it up as high as you can. Then do the other leg as well. We can also do sideways like the ones we did on the floor, making sure that we're keeping our hips square. You can do the hold as well after 10, and we can do backwards ones as well. So carefully putting your back leg on the height, arms out, they can be out here or up by your ears, and kicking your back leg off. These ones are a bit tricky, and what you're probably going to want to do is drop your chest. Yeah, so that is a different exercise. You can try some of those, but for these ones, we want to keep our chest nice and tall. What we can do for some passive flexibility is work our splits. So you guys are all aware how to do your splits on the floor? Hopefully you are. To make that a bit harder, you can use your cushion or a small height, and you can put your front foot up on that small height into your splits, making sure your hips are square. We don't want to be sitting out to the side like this with our hips facing forwards. You want them facing this way. Otherwise, using our chair again, you can try a passive ring split. So what we do with this is we face away from our height, and you want to make sure it's something that has a back to it. So my chair isn't exactly ideal, but it might work for today. We're going to put our back leg bent up against the height, and then slide into a regular split. Now we want to make sure, and I'm not doing the best at this because my chair's moving, we want to make sure that our back leg stays pointing up to the roof, and obviously I need some work on my splits. So you can do that on both legs, and then some middle splits as well. You can just put your foot on the height. So that's some passive flexibility work that you can do, and some active flexibility work that you can do as well. Have fun.